You are 800 feet below the surface of the Atlantic Ocean. Above you, nothing but miles of black, freezing water. No sunlight, no phone signal, no way out. The pressure outside this steel hull is strong enough to crush a car like a soda can in under a second. And you've been living here, sleeping, eating, working for the past 47 days straight. You haven't seen the sky. You haven't smelled fresh air. Your family doesn't know exactly where you are. They can't. That information is classified. And here's the thing, you chose this. This is not a prison. This is not a punishment. This is Tuesday. Welcome to one day inside a nuclear submarine, the most isolated, most secretive, and most dangerous workplace on the planet. Stay with me, because what happens in the next 24 hours will completely change how you see the world above the water. There is no sunrise alarm on a submarine, no window to let in light, no birds, no sound of traffic. Instead, you wake up to the hum. A constant, low, mechanical hum that never stops the sound of nuclear reactors doing their job. The sound of air recyclers pulling carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and pushing oxygen back in. The sound of a machine that is keeping 140 men alive in a place where humans were never meant to exist. Your bunk is called a rack. It measures roughly 6 feet long and 2 feet wide. There is 18 inches of space between your face and the bunk above you. You share this sleeping area with 2 other sailors who work different shifts, which means someone is always sleeping, and someone is always waking up. There are no days off. There are no weekends. The submarine operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every single day of a deployment that can last up to 6 months. You have exactly 7 minutes to get dressed, splash water on your face, and report to your station. Late is not an option. On a submarine, every person has a critical function. If you miss your shift, someone else is carrying your weight, and on a vessel running on nuclear power in enemy-capable waters, that weight matters. The galley, that's what they call the kitchen, is the social center of the submarine. It's roughly the size of a large walk-in closet. On a vessel 560 feet long, this tiny room feeds up to 140 crew members across 3 rotating mealtimes. The food is surprisingly good. The US Navy actually invests heavily in submarine cuisine because food is one of the only morale tools available. There's no Liberty Call, no shore leave, no happy hour, but there will be steak on Friday and everyone knows it. Breakfast today: scrambled eggs, bacon, toast, orange juice from a carton. Simple, hot. It tastes like the best meal you've ever had because out here, food isn't just fuel. It's a reminder that someone on the other side of this steel hull actually thought about you when they packed this boat. At the table across from you, 2 officers are quietly reviewing navigation plots. Another sailor is reading a paperback novel, the same one he's been reading for 3 weeks. Nobody talks much during meals. Not because it's forbidden, but because everyone is tired and everyone understands tired. You report to the control room, and this is where the submarine comes alive. Imagine a space the size of a medium living room, packed wall to wall with screens, instruments, levers, and 2 periscope columns that look exactly like you'd expect from every movie you've ever seen except real, except operational, except currently tracking water depth, vessel speed, and the acoustic signatures of ships passing 400 feet above your head. The officer of the deck stands at the center, monitoring everything at once. He knows where every valve is located on this ship. He can recite the emergency procedures for a reactor scram that's an emergency shutdown from memory. Every officer on a submarine must qualify as officer of the deck before they are trusted with this watch. That qualification process takes over a year. Your job this morning is sonar. You sit in a darkened alcove, headphones on, eyes fixed on a waterfall display, a visual representation of sound moving through the ocean. You are listening. Not to music, not to a podcast. You are listening to the Atlantic Ocean itself, filtering through thousands of sounds, whale calls, ship propellers, underwater geological activity, searching for the specific acoustic signature that would indicate a threat. You do this for 4 hours. In silence, in total concentration. This is the heartbeat of submarine warfare, the ability to hear what no one else can hear, and to hear it first. Lunch is brief. Today, it's sandwiches, soup, and apple slices. You eat in 12 minutes and head aft toward the rear of the vessel for your secondary duty assignment. At the back of the submarine, separated by watertight hatches and radiation monitoring checkpoints, is the reason this vessel can stay submerged for months. The nuclear reactor, it runs on enriched uranium. It generates heat that turns water into steam, that drives turbines that power everything: propulsion, electricity, air recycling, water desalination. Without it, this submarine is just an expensive metal tube. The nuclear engineers who maintain the reactor are some of the most highly trained people in any military branch on Earth. They spend years learning a system so complex that its full technical manual would fill an entire bookshelf, and they maintain it on a rolling 6-hour watch cycle around the clock for the entire deployment. Today, everything is nominal. The gauges are steady. The coolant temperature is perfect. The reactor hums with the quiet confidence of something that has been engineered to almost never fail, and trained crews to respond instantly if it does. The alarm is not a drill alarm. It sounds exactly like a real alarm. That's the point. Fire drill. Simulated fire in the engine room. Every sailor on the submarine knows within 3 seconds what they are supposed to do. There is no confusion. No one asks questions. They move. Submarine fire drills are not routine inconveniences. They are life or death rehearsals. On a submerged vessel, fire is arguably the greatest threat. You cannot open a window. You cannot step outside. The air supply is finite. A fire in a sealed metal tube 800 feet underwater is a scenario with very few good outcomes unless you have trained for it obsessively and then trained again. The drill lasts 22 minutes. The simulated fire is contained. The crew resets. 40 minutes later, flooding drill. Simulated breach in the torpedo room. Different team. Same speed, same precision. You run these drills not because disasters are likely. You run them because when you are 800 feet underwater with no way to call for help, the only safety net you have is the person standing next to you and how well both of you prepared. The day slows down after dinner. Some sailors exercise. There is a small gym with a stationary bike, a treadmill, and a single weight rack. Others watch movies on a shared hard drive loaded with hundreds of titles before departure. Others write letters they won't be able to send for weeks. Communication on a submarine is one of the strangest aspects of this life. Outgoing messages from crew members, called familygrams, are short, limited words, no classified information, no locations, no mention of anything that could compromise the mission. They are reviewed before transmission. Incoming family messages are limited too. Your wife could be in the hospital right now. Your child might have taken their first steps yesterday. You won't know until the next scheduled communications window, which may be days away. You learn to carry that uncertainty like you carry everything else on this boat, quietly and without letting it affect your performance. This is not coldness. This is discipline, and it costs something real. Nobody talks about this part. The official briefings cover reactor safety, torpedo procedures, and navigation protocols. But there is no manual for what happens to a human mind when it goes 47 days without sunlight. Submarine crews don't call it depression, they call it the funk. It usually hits somewhere around week 3, a low gray heaviness that settles over the boat like fog. Appetite drops. Conversations get shorter, humor gets darker. Everyone feels it, and nobody says much about it, because everyone is feeling the same thing at the same time, and complaining about it doesn't make the hull any wider. What they do instead is routine, rigid, almost obsessive routine. Wake up at the same time, eat at the same time, exercise at the same time. Routine is the skeleton that holds everything together when the outside world's seasons, weather, daylight, the simple act of walking to a different building has been completely removed from your life. The Navy knows this. That's why there are movie nights. That's why the food is good. That's why petty competitions who can do the most push-ups, who makes the best chili, are silently encouraged. Small things become enormous things down here. A birthday cake baked in the galley oven can genuinely change the atmosphere of an entire vessel for 2 days. The men who do this long-term career submariners who spend decades cycling through deployments develop a particular kind of stillness. They are not broken by the isolation. They are refined by it. They come up after 6 months beneath the ocean, and they are quieter, more patient, and more certain of exactly who they are than almost anyone you will ever meet above the surface. The lights in the berthing area dim. The hum of the reactor continues. Somewhere above you, the Atlantic is vast and indifferent. Ships are passing. Planes are flying. People are going to sleep in their beds, in their homes, with their windows open and the sound of the real world outside. Down here, 140 men are doing something most humans will never do and most will never fully understand, choosing, every single day, to live inside a machine, inside the darkness, inside the deep, so that the world above the water can stay safe. The day is over. Tomorrow will be exactly the same, and they wouldn't have it any other way. Using artificial intelligence, we reconstructed what a single day aboard a nuclear submarine actually looks like. Thank you for watching all the way through. Every video like this takes hours of research and work. If you enjoyed it, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And drop a comment below, whose day should we reconstruct next? Subscribe for more. Inside Their Day.